Mokonyane.
As you rightfully say, Desiree, we are still at the Inkosi Albert Luthuli Convention Center in Durban at the ITU World Telecom, and I am with the Minister of Communications, Nomvula Mokonyane, as you rightfully said. Thank you very much for joining us, Minister.
You're welcome, and good morning to the viewers.
Tell us about this partnership that brought ITU here. What's going to be happening?
This is about engagements of the world around the use of technology, innovation for digital development within the context of the fourth industrial revolution, where the issues of telecommunication have to be seen as part of growing economies, making sure that there's people-to-people relationship, skilling young people for the future, investing more on research, but most importantly, making sure that every country is competitive and adapting to the realities of new technologies and communicating on real time using high tech, and most importantly adapting to the realities of environmental change and climate, so that then whatever that we advance is in the interest of sustainable development.
Is South Africa adapting to those changes that you're talking about?
Indeed, South Africa is adapting because we are part of the ITU, precisely because we conform to those international standards. That's why we're dealing with the issues of digital migration. That's why we're investing on skills development through science and technology. That is why we are also encouraging young people to see this as another area of new investment, new opportunities, new career paths, and of importance. Once you are part of this, you then are able to communicate and be part of the globe. And finally, for us, in terms of revitalization of our own economy, this is but one area that we as government are learning in terms of best practices to make sure that South Africa is also competitive.
Earlier we spoke to one of the SMME exhibitors, and you're speaking about young people as well, upskilling themselves to be part of these new economies. As government, are you engaging those young people? How are you engaging?
Indeed, that's exactly why we're working together with the Department of Small Business Development, our Science and Technology Department, our institutions of research, institutions of higher learning are quite key. But in economic opportunities, this is but one of the other ways where SMMEs, for the first time in the history of South Africa, are also drawn into this space, so that then they themselves, not just any other SMME, young people, women, people living with disability, black business also has been attracted into being part of this, because we know that there's been a domination of a few into this particular space, and our intention is to then make sure that it is much more inclusive, it's diversified, and it is supported and capacitated through financing, through access to markets, and through the regulations that the world and South Africa in particular has developed.
And are those the methods that can be used in order to make sure we don't lag behind and we are not just consumers of these new advancements?
It is exactly that, because research will give you solutions for your own capacity, for your own economic standards, for diversification, but also for competition in the world, so that we don't only become consumers of the goods, but we are also capable of also feeding the world on the solutions that can also be produced here in our country, in South Africa.
Now, ITU World is in South Africa for the very first time on the African continent. And it's going to be taking place in the next week. What are we going to see?
We're going to see an ability of moving Africa together, because just yesterday Minister Kwele had a meeting. There were meetings that were taking place with ministers from Africa. You're going to also see Africa coming together, but you're going to see the world appreciating that we are good hosts, that secondly we are part of the world in terms of discussions and developments, but of importance it's to demonstrate that digital development is also one of those priorities in terms of investing for the future.
And digital migration?
It is part of that. Digital development development, no one size fit all, diversification of digital migration, so that then you don't only get absorbed into one that has become obsolete in the world, but you must actually migrate and use alternative technologies, alternative methods, and even connectivity that will not actually disrupt dissemination of information.
All right, so Minister, we know you have to run because there is a lot going on. You have a schedule that needs to take place today. Thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for inviting us.
All right, sure. That is South Africa's Communications Minister, Nomvula Mokonyane, talking to us right here at ITU World Telecom, which is an event that brings together government like the Minister herself, SMMEs, tech players from all over the world, really, and not just here from the African continent. And there will be events taking place throughout the week. It's back to you in studio.